Welcome all to the analysis hole. Please like, share, and subscribe to the black hole for knowledge exploration. This is the theme of the story, The Lament by Anton Chhekov. Anton Chekhov's Lament, also titled as Misery, is a poignant exploration of human suffering, loneliness, and yearning for connection. The protagonist, Iona, is an old Russian cab driver mourning the recent death of his son. Chekhov sets the image on a cold, snowy night which mirrors Iona's internal desolation. The entire story centers around Iona's futile attempts to share his overwhelming grief with others who are too preoccupied with their own lives to listen. So, first theme is grief and loss. The most dominant theme in the lament is Iona's profound sorrow over his son's death. His emotional burden is heavy, and he is desperate to unburden it by sharing his pain. However, the absence of someone to listen intensifies his suffering, highlights the isolating nature of grief. The story vividly captures the way loss can consume a person when there is no outlet for their sorrow. Second theme is loneliness and isolation. While Ina is physically surrounded by people in a bustling city, emotionally he is completely isolated. Every time he tries to express his grief, whether it's to the military officer, the young man, or the housewife, he is met with indifference. Each of these characters represent different social classes and individuals. None of them are willing to pause and listen to Iona's pain. His isolation is not just emotional but social, symbolizing how disconnected people can become in a fast paced, indifferent society. Next theme is the search for empathy. Iona's desperation to find someone to empathize with him is at the heart of the story. He tries multiple times to start a conversation about his son's death, but each attempt is brushed aside. This lack of human connection illustrates the broader theme of how society often overlooks the emotional needs of the elderly, the marginalized, and the suffering. Next point is indifference of society. Next theme is indifference of society. Chekhov critiques the indifference of people in society where individual struggles are often ignored. The passengers that Iona encounters represents different walks of life are too caught up in their own concerns to acknowledge his grief. This reflects a world where everyone is absorbed in their personal troubles and the emotional well-being of others is easily disregarded. The story exposes the harsh reality of how personal grief can go unnoticed in a society that is too busy or uncaring. Next theme is the symbolism of the horse. By the end of the story, when Iona has exhausted all efforts to communicate with people, he turns to his horse. The horse becomes the only listener to his suffering. This moment is deeply symbolic, representing how Iona is driven to confide in a creature incapable of understanding him simply because no human will. The horse symbolizes the unconditional, if mute, companionship that Iona longs for, contrasting with the emotional coldness of the people around him. So, Chekhov's commentary on humanity is that his writing style is marked by simplicity, but beneath that simplicity lies a deep, tragic commentary on human condition. In the Lament, Chekhov is not only telling the story of one man's personal grief, but also making a broader statement about the need for empathy. Through Iona's silent suffering, he exposes the tragedy of unshared grief and the societal indifference to individual pain. So, at its core, the story is a meditation on how human beings crave understanding and sympathy, especially in times of profound loss. Iona's repeated attempts to find someone who cares about his tragedy reflect a universal human need to feel connected to others in moments of vulnerability. So, note down this answer.